1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, we're live. We're live. We'll put some tunes up here. It gets kind of boring. I'm gonna turn it down. Yeah, that's better. All right. What's going on? Getting everything ready, set up. 1, 2, 3, all that baloney. We are going to tie totally off the cuff, random. But we're going to get ready for fall cutthroat camp in BC. So we're chasing coastal cutthroat. And the Kokanee spawn is going to be on. So we're going to come up with some Kokanee colored spawning color imitations. So it's going to be totally random, off the cuff. I'm just going to tie and fly by the seat of my pants here. So we're just gonna do it. I got kind of a rough idea. I don't even have materials out. I mean, like, I got materials out, but from the last stuff I did. But yeah, we're just gonna do that. I'm just gonna pull stuff out at certain times. Guys, you can certainly make comments and questions and suggestions anytime. I've got comment section up here, and if they're good ones, I'll highlight them, and then the community can comment back. Obviously tasteful stuff, guys. The odd F-bomb's okay because I'll probably drop one, but it's going to YouTube as well. So So yeah, basically olive and red and bright fire truck oranges. That's kind of what's really going on. So these coastal cutthroats are going to be targeted on these kokanee when they're spawning. So they're going to move up in the shallows. And I'm not an expert. This is the information that's been passed on to me, and I kind of read between the lines too, and I put stuff together, and I just really want some stuff for my personal arsenal, and I can, share with the community out there at camp. So hopefully we can put some stuff together. It's, when I tie stuff for my own box, I'm not as fussy as when I tie for other people's boxes, obviously. But this is a good time that we can, I like to experiment. So I can see what works, what doesn't. For the most part, everything that I try is still fishable. There's very few things that I just threw to the side because it didn't sit right, or didn't wobble right, or didn't keel right, or, and that can happen. I shouldn't say I've never done that. Like I haven't done too much of that since, I got kind of a good beat on the streamer tying thing. I failed lots when I first started. That's a different story, but we're gonna try and get some burgundy and black. Yeah. Yeah, burgundy and black, Ron says. But that was good. That was good back in September, like because camp last year was in September. So burgundy and black works awesome. But we're going to look at like full spawn colors. We're going to tie up some of that. And of course, we're going to have some burgundy and black options as well, because I mean, they'll still eat like leeches, and not everything's going to be bright and whatnot. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So we're going to articulate these things. A lot of the fisheries in, excuse me, in BC only allow one hook and no barb. So this fishery is no exception. So I debarb on the water. Some guys mash them, in the vices, which is fine, right? Like, do whatever you want. I just like to press them while I'm out there. So, because if I can fish them here in Alberta, I'll fish them without the barb. Like bigger streamers, I don't pinch the barb. I don't have to. They're single hooks. They come out easy. Even a big brown trout, when they choke them, like, yeah, pretty easy to get out. Smaller bugs, when they inhale them, 100%. Yeah, I like barbless all the way. So yeah, that's probably going to piss some people off, but it is what it is. I got some water here. I put in a hard 7-day week there, and I just want to chill with you guys and get back on the vice and keep doing good things and keep my head clear, and hopefully you guys can follow along. And if you gotta go do something and come back, I encourage that too. If you want to share this, I also encourage that. I really appreciate it. So you guys are probably saying, what the hell? Get going. Let's tie. I gotta smash water, and then I'm gonna start rooting through some materials. All right, so we got some fish hunter stuff here. I got some orange. You guys might hear my stepson. He's out having a good time. And then we got some fish hunter. Oh, this is all marabou here. So this is a medium olive. I like the medium olive. Don't get me wrong, I use the other olives, but for this application, I kind of feel like they don't have dark heads. But anyways, there's Ron's favorite color. That's his favorite color. Thought I had a whole bunch of red here too. Oh, well, here's some red from the good folks of Superfly. Oh yeah, more red. Oh, look at this. More red. White River. Oh, MFC. Good stuff. I'm pretty fussy about my marabou, but red is kind of one of those colors that it can be really tough to come by. So you kind of just take what you can get. Okay, so we got this. My stepson's going ape out there. Yeah, and what we're going to be tying with, I got like just the good old Danville's 210 denier flat waxed nylon, like the ultimate streamer thread, and I don't care. I will fight anybody on that. It's so great. It's tough to come by, but or tougher to come by, I should say. This stuff's super good, super durable. And it also doesn't take up a lot of real estate on your fly, or your shank rather. So I have no idea what I'm going to do. Oh, I should go over the hook. Sorry, guys. We've got an Arix NS118 classic streamer, downward facing eye in a size 4. So this is going to be our kicker fly or kicker hook on the fly. And then we're going to just run a shank. I got a 20 millimeter shank by the good people of Partridge of Riddick. And we're going to run that up front. So that's going to be our lead. So that way we don't because these are cheaper than hooks, and it used to be the other way around. So I used to just cut hooks, but now hooks are way more expensive than the articulation shanks. So anyways, we're going to go there. So now what I think we should do is, because, Kokanees, they're very deep. Like, they've got good body width, so they're deep. So we need to build up that profile somehow. So I got a few ideas. This is my bucktail drawer. So I know you're jelly, and I would be too, but this is a lot of money. It's a lot of money right here. Okay, so I have had this ratty POS bucktail since probably the first time I started tying. I'm pretty sure this has been with me for almost 15 years. So the problem with this one is I want it like traditional colors for pike. And I'm starting to be like Kelly Gallup here and tell you guys I got a story for everything. But the fibers are just too short. They're just way too short for a good pike fly. So I think we're going to use that as support. We're going to use that as under support. And I got some Angelina fiber here. And sorry, this is like a LED light, so the colors don't look as good under this thing. But this is like a red crystal. It's a mixed flash. And then I have like a gold, bronze, olive color flash. You could see that a little bit better. And I think I'm going to utilize that. And that's what we're going to blend both of those together, hand blend those for color, for flash in the body. So, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I'm probably going to weight these flies a bit and finish them off with, we'll do some fish skulls. So the fish skulls are pretty good. It should fit on our, before I start building this fly, like you guys should in good practice. Are these ones small? I have some other smaller ones here, but I think these ones are more appropriate. I'm going to take one of these, and try it on our front section, which is our 20 millimeter shank. Boom, boom. And we're going to run this. We're going to load this up on the shank. That thing with material on it is going to look good. So we want most of the body on this shank. This is like, I think it's equivalent to a 4X. And then once we articulate this up, basically we want like just the head and shoulders here, and then start tapering the fly down. So we want it big, kind of the highest peaks probably want right around the articulation point, and then we start slimming it down. So they have green heads, green tails. That's why we have the green marabou. And I like putting in a little bit of, I say we have green marabou. I just buried it with all my orange, or red rather. And then I'm not going to do any rabbit with this. I might try some stuff with rabbit later. But I don't want to run too much because we don't want short strikes. But we still want enough there. Like these are kind of a rough, like Nature Spirit's probably the best, one of the best out there, probably. It's my favorite. So to find like bad plumes in there, they're rare. So I have two that aren't that good, but they're perfect for this application. And I'm going to take two right off the bat. Like we want this to show up. We're going to tie this in, and I'm not going to use this feather for too much more than basically the tips. I keep them. I might use them for like gills on mayflies or something like that, right? For the sides. I cut them off, tuck them aside because nothing's cheap nowadays. I just loosely wrap everything in. And I didn't cut back because I kind of want a little bit of a medium to start building up. Just kind of cleaning up everything. Now you can go ahead and put some flash in here, but sometimes I find putting flash in the tail and you're not running like a hook underneath, that they'll focus on the tail and hit slash at the tail and you'll miss strike. So here I'm keeping this tail really short, like really short, so we don't get any miss strikes. They're going to hit that. So, and then we're going to start building into the body, and your hands are going to get full of red. It's just one of those things. If I can move this camera over it. There we go. That's better. So we're going to take some marabou here. And I'm going to take like just one plume. And we're going to palmer this just ahead. Okay, and I use basically I rest my thread where I want to stop the plume. And I kind of just moisten. You don't want it like completely wet, but I like to just preen and pinch at the quill. That gives you a little bit more control. And then by doing this, I'm just taking my bodkin to free up. By doing this, we're actually blending that red into the tail. You got to think, oh, this looks kind of big for the tail, but you got to think there is no support under this marabou yet. So it's not gonna stay up. It's just gonna collapse around the other stuff here. So we're going to have good representation here. We do have longer tips on that pommard, but that's okay. Those tips are going to be so thin that it's just going to blend in that tail really nicely. I mean, but if you're really worried about that stuff, like you can always just shorten those up, pinch the ends. All right, you can do that. Me, I don't really pinch them too much. I like the natural taper to the feathers, but to each their own. Some guys are a little bit more fussier than I am. Like I could also just start it further up and then not let it sweep back as far, but I think we're fine here. And now we're going to start kind of stacking some colors in here. So we're going to start with, we got some orange here as well. And like the smaller stacks is really good to try and pick out your bum marabou pieces. Like I like the really long ones for pommering like we just did. But like the short, this stuff here. Like that's still, like it's, like I said, this stuff is really tough to find. In the Fish Hunter series. But we want to come down around that hook. What, Gus? What are you doing, buddy? My male bully. What? What are you doing, buddy? He's checking up on me. Okay, So here we're starting to blend colors. You'll see orange bellies on Kokanees too. So we're just starting to stack and having some fun, and then we're going to start moving to some bucktail. The left side of this bucktail is a lot better than the right. Okay, so I pick out the straggler guard hairs and whatnot, and pull out the underbelly. I'm going to trim to desired length. This is where the 2 tendon really comes into play nicely. Okay, and we're going to have nice even distribution. We're going to cinch down on that. And then we're just checking with the tool right now. Just checking. Okay, we're not pushing that back until after. Not trimming those either. So, here we go. More marabou. Take 2 plumes. And you're like, why am I taking 2 plumes? So the reason why I'm taking 2 plumes is so I can stack more body. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I might tweak some, so I might put less in the tail here, or whatever. Like, you got to start somewhere. As long as you're tying it in correctly, then gold. You're golden. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. And I'm just going to take these tips and just trim them off. And then I'm going to advance my thread just right behind that. Tie-in point to that. Bucktail. Sorry, I can't do 2 things at once sometimes, guys. I get focused. So I always like to start one complete turn on itself, then start doing advanced wraps. Then we know. Okay, so this looks nasty right now. I assure you that it's going to be just fine. I just try and wiggle my thread through here just like I would if I was stacking deer hair. Maintaining pressure on my thread. I'm just trying to find the quill, and I have it in the exact opposite direction of the quill. Both quills, because that prevents me from cutting my thread. And it's a pretty inconvenient thing to do at this point. And now we're building up body, but that's still like this stuff is going to like really suck down. And then I gotta find my brush. I'm just gonna brush all of that out. So we get rid of the trapped fibers. The marabou breaks pretty easily when you trap it like on its end, so break them off a little and then they'll come free and look good. So there we go. Found them. Found the quill ends where we got it. Okay, perfect. Now, before we fold this over, like I said, we're going to put in our flash. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Some people might not like what I'm doing, but that's okay. That is okay. Chopping the stack, reblending. We're just going to advance our thread up to here. And we're actually going to lay this flash down. We want some in the belly. So I just split it in a V and tucked it under. Now I have some over the top. just build up a little bit of a thread dam there. That's pretty much where we're going to end this part of the fly. I hope I have enough. You know what? I don't know if that glue is done. Let's see. Oh, this one I still got a little bit of life left in it. I just want to finish the fly off with that. Super glue is really nice. I like using it when I use bucktail. Goes through it. It's a lot more durable. So yeah, we got a lot of material, but everything underneath this, it's just going to shrink. It's just going to shrink, and then the only thing that's going to stay up is the bucktail. So that's good. Drop my shank here. Here we go. Put the shank in. Make sure we connect it to our hook. Sometimes it's a good idea, like I'm not doing it, but usually if I'm tying more than one pattern, I'll tie a bunch of the tails like we just did, and then that helps you from not getting super glue all over everything else. Like I didn't put a lot on there, so it's not bad, but it can be a lot, like if you like to be a little bit thorough with it. Then we're just going to build up some thread. That's good. I'm right back into her. Bucktail. All right, Ron. So I really want to try and build this up. Quite a bit. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I think I'm already looking at some things I'm going to tweak. But here I'm not going to cut the ends, because that's going to be the it's going to be the support that we want with the bucktail. I can't get over that. I can't get over I put stuff down and then I can't find it. Just the story of my life. But I don't think you guys would respect me if I was organized. More organized than I am. So I'm just going to tell myself that. Here we go. This was just coming loose. So I just had to readjust the shank there. So here's where we're going to get the body. Right? So we're going to get the body and the support. And I'm going to try and just hollow tie this. So it's just basically building up a thread dam. To get that angle. And then that's what that's going to do. Is that going to push material over the fly, but it's not going to impede the articulation point, and it's going to be buried. So that's kind of what we want to do here. And then the cool thing about this is that with marabou, when marabou gets wet, it just collapses over everything. We can, it'll actually collapse on this, which will keep that silhouette. And that's what we want to do. We want to have that nice fat Kokanee body, right? Like the one I'm rocking, but with less red. So, and then here we're going to incorporate more flash. This is why, like, I don't, when I do tutorials, and this isn't a tutorial, this is just me having fun. When I do tutorials, I like to teach technique and not just patterns, because once you have quite a few techniques under your belt, then you can tie pretty much quite a few patterns and not just one. So sure, there's pattern recommendations that I would highly suggest that would get you some great techniques, but technique is better than recipes. And before I cinch everything down, I just want good even distribution of that flash. All right. And we can give that a good brush as well. And that'll help blend the bucktail and the flash together. Another good thing, if you guys don't want to use bucktail on this small fly, you can use deer hair. But then you're looking at buoyancy issues. And if you want to skip the buoyancy issues and go to something that builds shoulders, 100%, go with fox. Fox is fantastic. It'll build shoulders. Blends really nice with marabou. I use a lot of fox. So skunk is too, but you're going to look at length. Length is kind of an issue. You're going to have too long fibers. You'll be trimming it down, and it's not as cheap as fox. I find it's not as easily readily available as fox is versus skunk. So, okay, so here, great. One thing I already see that I would have done differently is put more green in. But you can't judge a fly until it's wet. So we'll see. But now this is cool. We can put a little bit of super glue in here. It does look sparser in comparison to the rear section, but just hang tight. Now that we have a good base with flash, we can stack our marabou. We don't have to palmer it. We just stack it nice. I'm going to throw another orange in here. Orange is everywhere today. And when I stack marabou, I like to pinch the tips out because then everything's nice and even. But you can do whatever you want. This clip is going over here. Okay, so this is where we can be a bit of a minimalist, but still have lots of body and movement with this stuff. And I might have some fox, so I might show you guys. I might put a little fox in the front of this, right behind the mask, and have the mask rest on that. I'll see what I got. I got some in the drawer here. And then you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Be a good reference. Good reference. And I always like to put the bottom stack in first. The reason I like to put the bottom stack in first is because if you put the bottom stack in last, it'll come up over your top colors. And it's really hard to see the orange in contrast to the red here, but you don't want the orange kind of flaring up over that. So here we are rounding the bend towards the head. So this is getting important that we test the length of it. And you put a sack in when you're getting close and just measure with the head. Measure with the head. It's a good practice. And then we've got it pretty much where we want it once we add that little bit of fox. And I'm going to see if I have any here. Olive, because that would be a nice blend. Oh yeah, I got some olive right here. Perfect. So you don't need much. And you'll want to do the very opposite of what you do with bucktail and deer hair. I don't trim the underfur out. I pull all these long guard hairs out. I mean, you do that with deer hair and stuff, but I don't pull any of the underfiber. I keep that because that's the good thing about fox. Those underfibers, that undercoat is what gives it its shoulders. So kaboom. This is what we're going to put in. Just a nice stack here. Right? And I can take another piece. I'm getting low. I love this. I use quite a bit of fox. And then I'm not going to go as thick on the bottom. I just pull a piece of the hide with the fur and then cut the hide off, and then you can just pull the guard hairs out. Sorry, I'm behind the fly here, guys. I didn't even notice. I'm used to my old setup at my old house. Okay, and then we're just going to put another stack here at the bottom. And then to join the stacks, you just pinch them together. Because it's easy like that. You don't have to make anything hard. Right? You don't have to overcomplicate it. And then I'm just cleaning that up. So this will blend our head into that classic head and shoulders of the spawning kokanee. I put the head on and then I fix it around the head too, because once you put the helmets on these things or a fish mask, it can mess up the stack. So don't be scared to move things around and spread it out. You want good even distribution. That marabou will cut through it as well. Oh, well, that was nice. I pulled a whole bunch out. That's not good. That's okay. Put that back in. Must have not cinched down as nice as I should have. There we go. Getting lazy. Now let's comb that out. Oh yeah. See? Technique. Technique over recipe. Sockeye. We opened it up for sockeye. Well, that's cool, man. Never caught a sockeye. Okay, so we're going to finish the fly. Thor in the background there. Probably grabbing a Gatorade. like to put an ample amount of glue on here. We got some nice shoulders on this now. Push that. When I let that sometimes sit and let it sit. So it sats. Sats. So yeah, here I might actually shorten it up. Or next one I could do is do 2 shanks and then just run a piece of braid and then have a snelled octopus hook or something there. That's kind of could be an idea. But this will fish just great. It actually came out better. Then I was looking, I was kind of starting to doubt the tail, but no, I think this will actually fish really well. Yeah, definitely some tweaking to do for sure. But and then once you get a fly where you want it to be, it'll be super easy for you to like this would be a very easy pattern because you're finishing it with a fish skull and you're not really doing anything complex other than hand blending flash, but that's not even really complex. So super easy guys. Like it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Technique is a big thing. If you don't want to waste materials, as materials are expensive as shit, right? If you don't want to waste materials by trying this stuff, as long as you tie the technique, right? These will all still fish. Like as long as you have good technique, your streamer will fish. I mean, don't be scared to try it, but also with materials, the price the way they are, take your time, do things right. Right? Then work on speed. Okay, and we just put the eyes on here. Close my glue up before it dries up on me. I like to put a little resin. Hold the eyes down. Eyes aren't easy to keep on. I'll tell you that right now. But do what you can to keep them on. I always keep a marker on me if I'm fishing a lot of patterns that have the fish skulls on them like this. And then if the eyes fall off, when they rub up against rocks or whatever, or they've been caught on quite a few times, then all I do is just draw marks of eyes, like pupils, in the slots that they give for the masks. And then it's a quick fix. And most of the time it's not even that important anyways. But then other times it's very important to have dots on the eyes, because I think that's a focal point too. A fish will take something from the head, they want to, that gives them a clear indication of the head is the eye, right? So Some people will argue that. That's cool. I feel that that's worked for me. Okay, so I'm using like a thin formula, and then now I'm using like a finisher viscosity, like a flow. This is Loon Flow, and you can use like a Solaris Bone Dry. And that kind of, it cures nicely. There, that's pretty much it. So we can dunk this, and we're going to have good silhouette. See if I can get a. Yeah, that red's kind of underneath this light. Sorry, guys. It's just the way the saturation goes with those LED lights, but it's a good light. I'll post up some pictures later on. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in.